Coming up, I'm going to go over the Ranger M95 and the Ranger M07 knife, so stick around. Hi, I'm the OCD Hunter, bringing you tips, tricks, DIY hacks, and other useful ways that my OCD can help make your life a little bit more simpler. Now, this video is long overdue. About a year ago, I was sent the Ranger M95 and the Ranger M07 knives from lamnia.com. Now, I'm sure I'm probably mispronouncing that, but I'll put the link in the description and on the screen so you can see where it's from. Anyway, they sent me these knives to do reviews on, and because of some personal things, I just have not had a chance to get that done. Matter of fact, I got to the point where I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do videos again. But they asked me to do a review, and my thoughts are is if you give your word and you don't follow through, then you're not much of a man. So today I'm going to do my review on these knives. Now, the good thing is that because I have had them for a year, I've done a lot of extensive testing on them. So it's not like the information I'm going to give you is because I've had the knives for 4 or 5, maybe even 15 days. But I've used them a lot. I've used them out to field dress deer. I've used them to skin deer. I've used them to do any kind of bushcraft task you can think of, and just general tasks that you would use for a knife. So because of that, I feel like I can give a pretty comprehensive review on these knives. So let's get started. All right, let's just start off with some basics about both these knives, because they're very, very similar except for about the size. So really the big difference between these knives is that the M95, which is the larger one, the blade comes in at just a little bit less than 6 inches, and the overall knife is about 10 and 3/4 inch in length. The smaller one, the M07, the blade is a little bit over 4.5 inches, with the overall length coming at about 9.5 inches. When I first got these knives, I really thought that I was going to be interested in the shorter one, the M07. But after I started using them, I found that extra length I really liked it. So I ended up using or gravitating to the M95 a lot more than I did to the M07, to the point where I really didn't even test this out. And as you can see by looking at the Cerakote, this knife has really been put through the paces so I can give you a good thorough review. Straight out of the box, the M95 was super sharp along the edge and the tip, as you can see in this video. As for the M07, it was okay. I couldn't cut hair with it, but I just did some real quick honing with the WC Knives RST tool, and after I did that, you can see that it was simply just razor sharp as well. So out of the box, I was happy with both knives. The steel on the knives is 80 CRV2, which is a high carbon steel, and the HRC is 59. So it's a little bit harder than a 1095 steel, but not as hard as something that's in the lower 60s. They both come with a drop point blade and a saber grind. Both have a TPE injection molding handle with a lanyard hole and some rubber jimping on the grip of the handle. These knives come with different options for sheaths. They have a composite and a leather, and both knives surprisingly weigh in about 6.9 ounces. The blades are covered with a Cerakote finish, and as you can see, it did really well about keeping it from rusting and held up pretty well to the punishment that I put it through. So let's talk about the sheaths first. Both knives come with either the polymer or the leather. I actually prefer the polymer sheath, especially when I'm hunting, because it's just an easy cleanup after gutting the deer. It has several attachment points at the top and along the side, and the retention on these are really good. Even the leather has better retention than you would find in Kydex. Plus there's no rattling. Both of them have a thumb ramp to push the knives out. But the really cool thing about them is that they have this rubber ring in them. And this rubber ring is what gives you the retention. So when you insert the knife into the sheath, the finger guard rolls along that rubber ring and then catches, so it doesn't pull out. And I think that this design is pretty cool. Matter of fact, I was thinking about maybe using this design in some of the sheaths that I make for myself. It's just a well thought of, unique design that I've never seen before. And like I said, even with the leather, you can see where the retention of that is in tight. It's not going to come out. As for the leather sheath, once again, it has multiple attach points, and because the retention is so good on these sheaths, you can wear them vertical, horizontally, on straps, on packs, upside down, upright, and you don't have to worry about losing the knife. The handle material is this TPE. It almost feels like a rubbery material. The best thing that I can give you to describe what it feels like is it feels like the Knives of Alaska Sure Grip handles. The rubber did really well using it. I'm not a big fan of this jimping. I feel like I get a little bit of a hot spots when I use it in my bare hand. But whenever I used gloves, you really couldn't feel it. This material does well when it's wet. It doesn't slip or slide. Likewise, when it's bloody from like field dressing a deer, I always felt like I had a pretty good seat with the hand. The other thing that's nice about this knife is because it's got that finger guard, is you can kind of choke up on it and use your fingers to hold to make the blade smaller. And that was one of the reasons why I liked the M95 better, because I had longer reach, but I was able to bring it down to a smaller blade to give you more control. So let's talk about the blade performance. I'm going to start with the negatives. 90-degree spine, not so sharp. Didn't do very well at all taking bark off of wood, or even making fluff from fat wood. And it also did not, or was very hard to get a spark from a ferro rod. But as you can see, what I did is you can use the blade side to get the spark from the ferro rod, so I still was able to get a fire made. I wouldn't use this knife as a axe, but if it came down to it, the chopping did decently by using the back of the handle. As for chopping with like light work, you are able to hold on to this back corner and get kind of a kukri effect with chopping, and it does really well. with taking the wood off. When using it for regular cuts, you don't have as much control when you have your regular hand grip on it. But like I said, because that finger guard, you're able to choke up on it, and when you choke up on it, it feels like a smaller knife, and now you get more control. So it is a very versatile blade. Using it as a chest lever grip, it hogged off wood like you wouldn't believe. It does have a lanyard hole that is behind the handle, which is nice, so it doesn't get in your way. For using it for draw cuts, was great control with doing feathering or just cleaning up the wood. Also, another reason why I like the M95 over the 07 was when you deal with batoning, it gives you that extra reach to be able to go through the wood. And I put this through some pretty nasty wood because they wanted me to test it pretty hard. I did feel the metal at one point to start to twist, but it never broke. And as you can see here, it went through some pretty knotty wood and made decent work out of it. Because the Rockwell hardness is only 59, it was relatively easy to sharpen out in the field and get back to razor sharp. The saber grind gives it slicing ability and allows you to get nice feather sticks. As for a hunting blade, I don't have any video of it, but I did gut a deer out with this. There's a photo of it sticking in the tree next to the deer after I got done when I was cleaning up. But I did use it to skin. One thing I will say about this blade is not the greatest skinning blade, but it does get the job done. You notice when I go up the skin, it gets underneath it, but it doesn't lift and separate the skin like some of my better hunting knives. And that's why when I push the blade in, I have to pull it out to get the cut. But once it gets started, it does really well skinning. The longer blade makes it a little bit harder to control. You can see where I've nicked the hide a couple times. And it made quick work of going through the tailbone to get that processed. Overall, I would say that these knives are good knives, coming in at the 100 to 150 mark at the time of this video. You have to go to lamnia.com to see. They're dependable. They may not be the best knife for each situation, but it gets the job done. And I was happy with the performance, and I would definitely keep these knives and put them in my lineup for different tasks. So there you go, there's my take on these Ranger knives. I hope that my continual painstaking practice of changing, fixing, and improving on ideas will help you out in your endeavors. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click that bell next to the subscribe button to get notified of new videos. And remember, comments are always welcome.